presentation is about fighting cyber threats with crowdsourced intelligence. In RSA, in the past year, we invested a lot of efforts in order to research and better understand how we can use crowdsourcing in order to deliver valuable intelligence. And I'm happy that I will be able to share it with you today. My name is Zohar Duchin. I'm a data scientist in RSA. So let's start. Okay, so let's start with a short background about the problem. So I think it will not be a big surprise for you if I would say that currently, the current status is that the bad guys are winning the battle. You probably hear it all the time in the news. There was the Ashley Madison case a few months ago with 37 million records that were stolen. There was, every now and then, there is a bank heist, like the one that was in Bangladesh Bank, where $81 million were just stolen online. So this is the current situation. The reason for this situation, there are many reasons for this situation, and I won't go over all of them. However, one of the key reasons for this is that the attackers are much more organized and much more motivated than the defenders. Not only there is a huge shortage of skilled security analysts, but also they work basically alone. The amount of cooperation between them is really, really low. And therefore, they are missing trends in the security. They repeat mistakes that one of them already did. The knowledge in this domain is just too large to master by one person. And this is where we wanted to use crowdsourcing and to investigate how to step in and use data science in order to help them. So how crowdsourcing can help? So for the sake of explanation, let's take an example for a different market that you probably know, the transportation and navigation market. You probably all know Waze application. So what Waze is doing is to take inputs from the crowd of drivers and using an analytic engine provide back an intelligence about which route I should drive with, I should take, how much time it will take me to get from one point to the next point, alerts, and so on. So similarly, in the security domain, each security product has a different visibility into different part of the network. Some have visibility to the endpoint, some have visibility to the network, some have visibility to the emails, and so on. Each security analyst has a visibility to different parts of the security terrain, different locations, different cases, different experiences, okay? So what if we could take all of these from different products and different security analysts, put it all in an analytic engine, and provide back an intelligence about different attacks that happen there, help the analyst to do their job easier. Now, what is this job that we want to help them to do? So basically, the analyst does three things all the time. They come in the morning to the desk, they prioritize what they need to deal with first, then they investigate it and decide whether it is good or bad. And after understanding if it is good or bad, they remediate, set the right measures in order to prevent similar cases to happen again. They also predict which incidents their organization is likely to encounter and set the right measures in order to prevent them as well. So this is all what security analyst does. It appears that crowdsourcing can help in each of these items. And we'll see in the next slide a few examples of how this is done and how we did it in RSA. So the first example is how to help the analyst to prioritize his work. I guess that one of the most trivial cases will be to use feedback from the crowd of analysts and using this feedback, calculate the likelihood that an entity or an event is risky and prioritize the different events by this likelihood. So this is what we did over here. An example for this is using feedback from the crowd of analysts about bad or good APs. Now, when you do it, you find out two things. One, you find out that there's a huge amount of false alerts over there. I mean, analysts sometimes mark something as risky, but it is not risky at all. And it happens all the time. So we need to play it very, very conservative in order to provide valuable prioritization. And this is why we chose to use the lower bound of Wilson score. You see the minus over here, in order to estimate the likelihood that an IP is risky. Okay, and you can see the formula over here. The second thing that appears is that the value of feedback decay over time. Okay, in IP, for instance, and in other entities as well, the value of feedback after 30 days is almost irrelevant. So therefore, we also included an exponential decay for the feedback. Okay. Using this simple formula, actually, it can take us quite far, providing a good prioritization for the analyst and helping him to decide on what incidents to work first. The second thing that we wanted to help the analyst with is the investigation part. Now, Lockheed Martin researchers a few years ago observed that every security attack actually consists of a sequence of events that they call the kill chain over here, these sequence of events. Now, a crowdsourced platform that has visibility to different parts all around customers, all around products, can have visibility into different events in this chain. Now, using that, you can recommend or guide the analyst to concentrate in the right chain where the investigation can provide him the most valuable information. Okay? On a different angle, if the analyst found something, let's say a bad IP, then this kind of platform can tell the analyst what he should look for. Given that he found this, what he should look for in his environment and find other stuff that are related. In addition to that, of course, sharing of best practices of investigation processes that meets governance and compliance regulation goes without saying. The last case that I will talk about is how to use the crowdsourcing platform in order to recommend the analyst which actions he should take in order to remediate and even predict the incidents on his environment. So, for example, such a system can recommend a bank to make some changes in his fraud detection policies to better address emerging threats. Here is an example or kind of user interface, for example, where you can say, look at other customers, what other customers did, and based on this, you will be able to recommend which changes need to be done in the security measures that this bank should take. So in the next 5 slides, I will go deeper into this example and explain how in more details, how we approach this problem. So before I start with this, I'll just talk a little bit about how fraud management is being done currently in banks. So basically, each fraud detection system consists of risk engine or machine learning-based risk engine and some set of rules on top of it. The existence of the rules over there is because that, first of all, is to catch things that the risk engine model didn't have an opportunity to be trained with, okay, new things, and also inject some business considerations into the model. For example, $2 are not worth to open a case for because the time that the analyst invest in it is just too much. Now, what is a rule? A rule basically consists of several conditions and an action that should be taken once these conditions are met. Each condition contains a sensor, an operation, and a value. Just an example, a rule might be if a transaction came from the country is Nigeria, equals to Nigeria, then block the transaction. Okay? So this formulation allowed us to turn rules into items and use and put it into a user item matrix and use later on collaborative filtering in order to recommend new rules to new customers. So here's what we did in a nutshell about the algorithm. So basically, what you see here in the matrix is the columns are different customers. Okay, each column is a different customer, and each row is a rule after some decomposition of complicated rules. Never mind. Each entry in this matrix is a rating of this rule that is calculated implicitly by the performance of the rule at the customer site. Okay. Now, using that and some other external attributes about the customer, you can measure the similarity between different customers, and with that, you can activate an algorithm. We will go into it a little bit later in the next slide, and recommend good rules that worked at similar customer, and it might be beneficial for you to use as well. So here is in a nutshell the collaborative filtering adjustment with some adjustments that we used. So first of all, the predicted rating at a customer is actually the average of other customers weighted by their similarity to this specific customer. Some of you who may know a little bit about collaborative filtering see that we didn't use here mean centering or z-score for the rating, and intentionally we didn't do it because customers are different from one another. One customer has large team and can allow himself a lot of false positives, false alerts, while the other one really prefers only high precision rules. Okay, so we need to maintain this in order to recommend rules that the customers will use. The similarity measure consists of similarity between the rule sets that each customer use and the similarity between the external attributes like the location and the industry or the size of the organization and more attributes over there. Now, after implementing this, we can take the rules with the highest prediction, and if they pass a threshold that is specific to each customer, you can recommend this rule. The evaluation of recommendation system is always not trivial, and in this case, it's not trivial as well. However, the key components for the evaluation will be probably, or that we use, is the amount of money. Well, money is easy; it's always money. The amount of money that this recommending a rule saves the organization, and the count, not the ratio, the count itself of false alerts. Okay. As I said before, there is difference between the preferences of customers, where one of them can consider $1,000 as high amount, and the other one it will be neglectable, and same goes for false alerts. I'd like to share with you results of a proof of concept that we did using this algorithm with the data that we have in RSA. So we sampled around 87 customers with a little bit over 300 rules and 4 months of transactions in credit cards. And basically what we found out, that's in an offline evaluation, of course, that applying this kind of recommendation system and suggest rules from one customer to the other, we can save, on the average, 50% of the fraud amount of money that they missed without it. So this was quite an encouraging result for us. So to summarize this, intelligence sharing is a key for fighting cyber threat attacks effectively. We can see it everywhere, and everybody in the industry talks about it. The current intelligence sharing is very, very basic from technological point of view, and also from the implemented algorithms out there. And this is a time where crowdsourcing and advanced analytics can step in and provide the security analyst help to better prioritize, to better investigate, to better predict and remediate the security events in their customers. And with all of this, we believe that we can keep the good guys one step ahead of the bad guys. Thank you.
Okay, questions, please, from the audience?
Looking at your example of the recommendation of the rules, how do you solve the cold start problem? If there's a new customer, do you have some kind of a ground-based rules or something?
So the question was, what about new customers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So new customers are it's always tough to recommend them. It's very domain specific, right? It's not a movies. It's something else. So usually in this industry, there is some default rules that are applied as a policy. I guess that there is some kind of regulations that make them do these default rules in their fraud detection systems. And then we recommend just, probably the rule set will be very similar to others. However, there is also the component in similarity of industry and location and the size. And based on this, we can, I guess we didn't try it, of course, but it wasn't implied yet. But you can still recommend quite a good rules based on this similarity only.
Thank you.